And we're back on another episode of Horror Stories. It's your girl Morgan Chanel, aka DJ M Dog, your host with the most. Other than myself, we have my favorite side nigga host with the most, Hector. Say what's up, my nigga.
I'm alive, man. I'm alive.
I am alive. I'm
man.
alive. I like that you're alive. Typically, everybody, we normally would have Jess here, but Jess is out here caping for us in these streets, so she will be back on a different episode with some more issues and some more beef from the streets.
Man.
For those who normally tune in, this show is obviously about the sex industry, sexual experiences, and sex in general. But on tonight's episode, we are kindly going to switch it up because of the climate in America. And I don't mean that weather-wise for those who are uneducated.
It's hot. It's fucking hot. Yeah. It's hot. It's hot in Vegas.
It's hot
everywhere.
as hell. Yes. So summer is really not canceled because some shit is really cracking right now. Minus the COVID, we obviously have a lot of racial situations occurring. So on tonight's episode of Horror Stories, we are going to turn it into a Black Lives Matter episode.
Okay.
Shout out to all my black people. Shout out to all my brown people. Shout out to all my people of color. For those who are in the sex industry, thank you guys for posting, for donating, for speaking out, not only for your rights as sexual workers, but for our rights as people of color. It's greatly appreciated. Not only from you, but from celebrities, from people who are not of color. It is greatly appreciated that you recognize the problem that is going on today in America, that you guys are speaking up and saying something about it, and even putting your lives on the front line to protest outside of stores, to loot outside of stores, to be radical outside of areas, to make sure that it's known that no justice, no peace. Jay, you got something to say?
Yeah.
I'll keep going. I bitch will preach.
You know, I appreciate all the folks out there that I've seen on IG that got that OnlyFans, that be, in the sex industry, that have used their platform to say something. I see you. Your effort don't go unnoticed. We appreciate it. My mind's been everywhere with all this stuff's going on.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I feel like it's a movie, and every day I wake up, I'll just be like, bro,
it's a new episode every time.
It really is.
Honestly, it reminds me a lot of Black Mirror.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Fucking insane, right? Like,
hell yeah.
We're in like a whole different paradox of fucking shit that's going on right now, and it's sad. It's depressing. It's heartbreaking. It's hurtful. It's got a lot of feels, a lot of emotions, and it's arising out of a lot of people.
I ain't even been horny, and I'm always horny.
Man,
I'm like, I get up
I'll
like
be ready to fuck. I've been fucking lately anyway,
dog.
But it'd be like, damn, I'm fucking lately. And
you better than me.
Going,
It's a drought out here, and I'm just like, you know what? Cool. I'm cool.
You know what? It's probably because I have a family, so obviously I'm waking up to my nigga day in and day out. So it's like it's hard not to fuck. It's hard not to fuck. You know what I'm saying?
It's rough out here.
Niggas is getting aggressional dick out here because niggas are angry. Like,
you know what? One thing that's really been on my mind, just kind of like, I'm a sidebar and I'm gonna hop back on. There's a whole virus out here, right? So me being the person that be like, I don't know.
Why isn't there a rise? Somebody lying.
So listen. So with all the cases of, they were saying with COVID, keep 6 feet apart, do this and do that. And I was like, damn, there's a bunch of group of people out here riding. I was like, damn, I wonder if the cases of COVID are going to go up now. If they don't,
somebody's lying.
I'm praying they don't.
That? What is that? What does y'all president say? It's a hoax.
It's a hoax.
It's a hoax.
If it doesn't go up, which I'm praying it doesn't, but I'm kind of looking at like, okay, if it does, then they words on the truth. But if they don't, this whole thing been bullshit.
It's been bullshit, which really means what is the underlying circumstance here? On top of that, why are we doing this in phases?
Man.
Honestly, what is today? 3 of protests?
May
2?
30th?
No, what's today? Day 3 of protests, day 2?
2 or 3.
2 or 3? Since COVID has occurred, I want to say that we've probably got an update almost every day, every other day on different states, different strikings are arising, different people arriving in hospitals, the rate for that matter. I don't think we've seen a notification on anything that has to do with COVID since the riots have occurred.
Right.
So with that being said, it's like, at what point do you guys feel like you're going to start putting out fucking COVID statues and rates and shit like that, because where the fuck is this shit coming from?
I don't know.
And are the niggas who are protesting getting tested?
Right. That's why I'm
I'm
like,
just trying to
listen,
figure out, like,
everybody's locking arms, holding him like that ain't 6 feet. But I mean, get your riot on for
yeah,
sure. I get it.
Op top.
But like what was going on before the riot is making me like, whoa,
You
did
know
we
what else is crazy though? Is even prior to rioting, motherfuckers been getting pulled over. This ain't 6 feet, officer.
Right?
This ain't fucking
My
6
license
feet.
don't reach that far, fam. Because if you can't
Bruh.
see it, fuck it. Yeah.
You better zoom in, my nigga, because
Yeah. That's the only thing that's been on my mind.
how you gonna give me a ticket 6 feet away?
Come on. All right, so going back to the original point, with the climate that everything's in right now, the one thing I'm noticing is, people from other cultures and races who associate with black people, have black friends, families, interracial relationships.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing I'm sitting back and watching is, people speaking, people using platforms that are big enough to talk about stuff.
For the clout?
No, just necessarily for the awareness. You don't have to. Like, I pay attention to certain celebrities that be saying, I'm black and there's a black man. Like, I listen to a lot of stuff in lyrics, but I'll be like, when it's actually time to be black and do what it means to be black and stand up for what's right, that speaker don't be as loud. And I'm like, them lyrics ain't hitting as hard now. I'll be like,
verse 2 don't smack like it did before.
Them lyrics don't hit as hard, and I just pay attention to it. But I also pay attention to a lot of us calling out other folks. You know what I'm saying? Within
absolutely other races, socially, yeah.
And the main thing that I will say is, I think people need to have solutions. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
There's one thing we could talk till we blow in the face. People been talking for 60, 70, 800
And you
years.
know what? I think that people have tried different options and our options aren't working. So it's like, why feel the need to verbally attack others who in turn don't know what to say,
right?
Who don't know how to fix something,
right.
Who can't walk a mile in your shoes. I empathize, but I don't comprehend because
right.
I don't know what it's like to be you.
You know what I always related to? Not to cut you off, man. So when talking to somebody of a different race, I always related to a lot of the struggles that women go through, right? When people talk about, when people don't know racism existed or people don't know how, I always related to women's issues. I say, okay, let me show you what privilege is. As a man, I can go on walks at night or walk to my car and not worry about shit. I've never worried about somebody taking my innocence or raping me. But women have, okay?
All the time.
All the time. You know what I'm saying? That's why you walk a woman to her car. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never had my nigga walk me to my car like, hey, bro, you walk me to the car. Okay? Yeah. I never had that. Like, hell no.
I know a nigga who, whenever we go to the club, the nigga always asks one of his homies to go to the bathroom with him. But that's another story.
Hell no.
The buddy sister. I don't. We'll talk about
Fuck
it later.
No.
Hey, on Christ in hell, I know a nigga that he always bring a homeboy to the club. It always be a different nigga. He always asks that nigga instead of the niggas he's known longer to go to the bathroom with him when he got to go. I don't never say nothing.
Not me.
I be saying something to the homies, to the homegirls, shit. Right. I don't never say nothing to him.
But no, so, but for me to not acknowledge it because it's never been something that I've experienced, that makes me part of the problem. And you see how women understand that logic? You see that, how I empathize with something that literally has nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. And just because it doesn't pertain to me, that doesn't mean it's not real. It's someone else's reality. As someone who's raised by a single mother and understand the shit that women go through, I get it. Now, here's another thing, okay? And I give them that. It's like, so if you can understand that, I can see what it's like for you to have I have the privilege of being able to walk at night. You can understand what it means to have privilege to walk around America all day and not be profiled. You know what I'm saying?
You can be a poor person, not of color, and still have privilege.
Right.
That privilege divvies you damn near anywhere.
Right.
No matter how much of a hillbilly you possibly may be.
You're still white. And that's because you know what? If we walk by two people, I guarantee you they're going to clutch their shit if they see one of us. And
before
we can have way more money than them.
I could have on the nicest Chanel. Like, doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter.
Kanye's best quotes. Even if you in the Benz, you still a nigga in the coupe. You know what I'm
Nigga.
saying? So I will relate it to that in the sense of how they can understand the logic of what privilege is. But I also have this awareness in which people don't get. No matter how much I empathize or show sympathy to women or live around them or have them in my family, I will never know what it's like to be a woman.
Ever.
Ever. Fucking
Same with us. No matter, and this is even as a black woman, no matter how much we have in common,
Right.
no matter how many of the same conversations that we have within our same household, the hold your head up high, the work twice as hard to even be in that one simple position that they're even in and didn't work to get, the know your yes and no's, your yes ma'ams and your no sirs, and pull your pants up and tuck your shirt in and keep your shoulders at a certain distance and don't fiddle too much. Those same conversations we have as a unit, man or woman, as black people,
Right.
I get. But even for you to be a black man, you harbor different struggles than I do.
Right.
You harbor different pain than I do.
Right.
You harbor a different reality than I do. So even as a black woman, I still can empathize and sympathize with your pain and the conditioning that you have to go through, that we have to go through.
Right.
But I still don't know what it's like to be a black man at the end of the day.
Right.
But I do know how important the black man is to America, and I do know how scared America is of the black man, and as they should be.
Right.
As they fucking should be. Because of how black men carry themselves, because of where black men are mentally, because of how strong they are spiritually.
I've always thought too that a lot of the progress in this country is for as far as why you don't see black men in a lot of political spots or just economic statuses that you see white. I think there is a fear that we might practice the same nepotism that they did. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of hiring your cousin.
Hiring only.
How many Bushes is in, you know what I'm saying? You got George W.
Yeah.
George singing, and cuz like if we practice that same nepotism
absolutely
within politics,
we fucking take over.
It will be scary.
And realistically, it's because white people know that they have a sense of power.
Yes. Hell yeah.
They're terrified of the demolition of that.
Right. It's an insecurity that we might do to them what they did
what they've done to us. It's an insecurity.
Fact.
And though we owe it to you,
Fact.
we're better people than you are to hold our heads up high every day and not even try.
Something I always say to people, being pro-black don't mean anti anything else.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It
It doesn't mean I'm anti any race.
Any race. We just want justice, dog.
I'm pro for my color, and I should be.
Right.
I should be proud of who I am as a woman.
Always.
As a woman, as a black woman, like just as an individual, you should be proud of who you are, period. And that goes for anybody.
Fact.
You could be, there are people who are pro-trans. That doesn't mean they're pro-straight, they're anti-straight people.
Right.
I'm pro for what I am.
Right.
And I'm gonna be pro for what I am. You should be pro for what you are.
Right.
I'm pro-life.
Right.
Niggas die every day. That doesn't mean I wouldn't shoot a motherfucker if it came down to it, but I'm still pro-life.
Fact.
But if it came down to it and I have to protect me and mine,
it's core business,
it's me or you,
I'm
nigga.
going home tonight.
I'm motherfucking going home tonight, period.
I'm playing Call of Duty now.
Absolutely.
Sure.
There's always a gray area for things. And my gray area is always going to be that I'm going to stand for whatever the fuck I believe in, whether it's morally right to you or the next motherfucker.
All right, so here's this part too. So with the awareness of the women's struggles, how I always relate the racial shit to women's
Absolutely.
struggles.
Which is a really good correlation.
It's a great, it's the same, it's
a really good correlation. I can't lie. That's a really good correlation.
You ready? So here's the thing though. As much as I understand the things that women go through, I will never be a woman. So when it comes time to talk about or fix things for women, I know my place in the sense of like, you know what? A lot of the men that have had something to do with women's progress historically hasn't been good. Maybe I should let women handle shit for women, because even though my intentions may be good, I might be trying to help, it's still something about a male presence sometimes in handling shit for women.
Right.
That's just
like a little
Same thing for race.
Even as right. Which is like when you say that too, it's like a gynecologist. Women love women gynecologists.
Right.
You get a man in there, it's a little like.
It's a little different.
Yeah, wait a minute, nigga, pump your brakes.
You don't know nothing about
Yeah,
right.
what you know about my Gucci?
Exactly. So it's the same thing with race. It's one of those things where like some people do want to help them like, well, why won't or people just be so entitled to having a voice about our issues sometimes in the sense of like, yeah, but when it comes down to solutions, sometimes it's like you just don't
You know what too?
it's like.
When it has to do with stuff like that too, even in having a solution, we've had a solutionary. What was it? Rachel?
Rachel. Who's Rachel?
White Rachel. I don't remember her last name, but she self-identified as a black woman, was in the NAACP.
Oh, the Rachel Dozell lady.
There we go.
Yeah,
Rachel
yeah.
Dozell.
She was in Washington. Cause I was in Seattle and she was in
So comes out, whatever. I don't know if she was. I know something came up with her. It had something to do monetary wise that she did that may have been a scam. But I feel like when it came out that people were realizing that she was white, a lot of people were mad. And I believe she got removed from the NAACP, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, now
The thing I have with that though is
she was doing shit.
Whether or not the bitch was black, she was fucking doing shit.
She was doing shit.
If she self-identifies as black, let her self-identify. It's
no different than trans.
It's no different than self-identifying. If I'm a woman and I self-identify as a man, it's no different.
Exactly.
If I self-identify as a zebra, it's no fucking different.
Exactly.
And you know what? If I'm doing stuff for my zebra niggas, then goddamn it, I'm a zebra.
I'm a zebra.
If I'm doing stuff for black people and I'm identifying as a black person, I'm not just culturally appropriating.
No, she was really in the trenches.
She was really in the fucking field for black people, and black people were fucking mad.
Yeah.
And my thing with that is, and I bring that up because it's like, as a whole, I understand that as black people, we want others to acknowledge what the fuck is going on with our people, and they should.
Facts.
But then it's like when we have people who are not of color stand up for our race and our people, it doesn't feel like it's enough for us.
Right.
And at what point does it become enough? Because they might only have as much power as you do, whether they're a celebrity or not. Because realistically, the only difference between a celebrity and you and I is their bank account.
Facts.
You're a regular nigga just like I am.
Facts.
So other than donating, that's all they can really do essentially. Like I can't.
But listen, somebody executing plans. So I knew a partner of mine out there because I was in Seattle and she was in Spokane. So it's 3 hours, maybe 5. Spokane's far. So Spokane is literally on the other side of the state of Washington. Seattle's by the ocean and Spokane's on the other side, like in there. And that's where she was at. A friend of mine, he knew her personally in the sense of he was in the Black Student Union at my school and he would be going to other colleges around and he had went over and he had like done business with her. And he was like, dog, he showed me text messages personally of him and her talking about business, executing plans, things she had done, things that she helps and executes. And it was one of those things where I was trying to comprehend. I was like, what the fuck did she do wrong just because she identifies as that? I was like, all right, listen, if she's doing more than you as a black person, sit this one out. All right? Like, sit this one out. You can't be sitting here talking about somebody who's executing and this and that. And you know what? And especially in Seattle, there's a big trans community out there because Seattle is super, super liberal. You know what I'm saying? Very liberal. So
Seattle and Portland are
Seattle
and
Portland. Yeah,
Seattle and Portland.
Very
Shout
liberal.
out to Portland and Seattle.
Keep Portland weird. That's the logo.
Yeah, keep Portland weird. Always keep Portland weird.
Keep Portland weird. So I would see a lot of people, especially black people, in the trans community, and they would be like, "I can't believe she's doing this and doing that." Well, I was like, "Well, what's the difference between what you're doing? You self-identify as this." And you want to be respected as that. And you're doing stuff, like you just said, for your zebra people in the community of the trans, right? You're doing stuff for the trans community. If she identifies as black and she's executing stuff, not just a culture vulture, she's executing shit that we need in our economy and giving scholarships and really helping people get in school and further education. I got no issue with that.
She can be black until
she could be
she
orange.
could be the darkest nigga in the room if she want to be.
She could be a Oompa Loompa. If she's executing shit for us, I'm like, dog, that's a solution-based person. Like,
and that's what I need.
That's what we need, solutions. You want to talk about somebody. Everybody needs improvement, but
everybody needs improvement.
But yeah, let's not go at the person that's executing shit because, we don't agree what she identifies with. And I'm just like, I didn't like that.
And if somebody is executing something, if you're not doing that within your own community, sit it out.
Right.
Sit it out. Because who are you to voice your opinion on how somebody is trying to assist within our community if you're not assisting within our community as well?
Right.
I like that when black people get together, we fucking get together.
Facts.
I fucking love it.
Right.
But we need to stand that way and not just in certain fucked up instances.
Facts.
Like this George Floyd situation, fucked up instance.
Dude, you want to know the worst shit I saw on that? So I guess the media found out his wife or his girlfriend was white. And I saw some tweets basically being like, yeah, y'all can have that. And I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. So because the person he loved was white, that changes the fact that a black man got killed?
Absolutely not.
Dog, you'd be
Absolutely
surprised
not.
how many of us I saw, and I'm like, what the fuck?
You know what else is fucking me up about that video though is that and a lot of people actually aren't even speaking about it, which is weird. That EMT
Was a cop.
Cops.
Thought they had on vests.
Fucking vests. All three of them. There was no EMTs there. So you guys deliberately picked up an EMT card and then got the body, which ultimately infiltrates the evidence. We got a whole nother OJ situation going on here. You guys are you're tampering with the situation. So to me, your autopsy reports are inevident because you literally had non-officials on site. What bothers me too about this shit is like, I hate this too because it literally just happened to me and my nigga like a month ago.
Yeah.
Got pulled over, whatever, and the cops are sitting there trying to talk to us or whatever, and see a nice nigga in a fucking nice vehicle and shit gets wild. But yeah, you still a nigga in a coupe, really. You still a nigga in a coupe.
I know you play ball, Jamal.
Yeah, like, and you know, like, so my nigga has a BA in criminal justice, so some shit really wasn't finna crack. Like, you got a real educated black man on your hands here. So, we're sitting there or whatever, and the guy's like, I don't really know your other experiences with cops, but we're not all like that, this, and that. It doesn't matter if you all are like that. I live in fear for myself, for my children, for my future children, for my children's future children, for the ones who are close enough within your vicinity and you're not doing anything about it. You know about it and are doing nothing about it. So don't apologize to me for the other instances because there's way too many other instances.
Way too many.
There's too many accidental killings. There's too many people dying for lesser than. Like, my life is worth what?
Come on now.
An accidental bad check? An accidental bad bill?
Paid leave. That's what your life is worth.
Yeah, like, that's what my life is worth. Like, you guys have, out of all jobs and out of all businesses, you guys have the least amount of training time.
Oh, 6 months.
The least amount of training time. The least.
It takes longer to become a beautician to be a cop.
So you mean to tell me that your trained, armed force is terrified of unarmed, untrained people who literally live in fucking fear on the streets? You mean to tell me that you guys are more scared of us than we should be of you?
Facts.
That's fucking insane. You're pussy. Yeah. You're not a cop. You're a coward.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Man.
You have a fucking gun, my nigga, and you mean to tell me that I should feel safe next to you? I ain't got no gun.
Yeah.
Push come to shove, nigga, it's you or me. And right now you're gonna pick me. Like, I don't.
Something I've noticed with a lot of that, a lot of people, they have never been in positions of power. So a lot of these dudes that do become cops be like niggas that got bullied.
Okay.
Not all.
When you say that though, it triggers my mind, and I didn't mean to cut you off. The Stanford University project. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yes, the jail. Yeah. Yes. I've seen that shit.
So for those of you who never seen and or heard of the Stanford University project, basically what it is a professor at the college
was a psych professor
at a college, and what he did was put out an ad for young men. They had to be at least 18 years old. I think it was like $15 a day. The psych test was essentially to interview all of these group of guys. Um, simple questions too, simple questions. And he basically has them placed within the school, two different like classrooms that he sets up as a jail, and he divides the men that he picks as police officers and prisoners. The moment that the men he chose for police officers put those fake uniforms on, they were in the mirror like, spread your fucking business, like instant power, instant sense of power. The people who were criminals felt like, okay, this is just like for a test, it's a job, whatever, we're gonna see how it goes. When they realized that the people who were like portraying as cops started to take it serious and were starting to fuck them up, even though they signed something saying that they couldn't touch them, they couldn't
Right.
get in their faces, and the psych professor was allowing it.
Well, he was trying to see. So it was to test, like,
How far you would go.
yeah, yeah, it was to
Yeah,
see
your
how,
morality.
yeah, it was to see how far that they would go.
Right. So in a sense, though, there were some people, the idea was, though, if you wanted to leave, you could leave freely. You just had to stay, I'm done, I don't want to be here, I want to leave.
Right.
With a case, a guy says, I want to leave, I need to get out of here, I don't want to do this anymore, and he gets mad. They literally follow the guy. Do you really want to get out of here? Do you really want to do this? And they basically manipulate him into staying.
Yeah.
So he stays longer, allows these other men to mistreat him. He has a mental breakdown to the point where he's like, I need a lawyer. Freaks out, says I need a lawyer. Two of the guys who are part of the experiment, who are like the overseers of it, they end up letting the guy go. When the head professor comes back and they tell him like, listen, we have to let him go, he's fucking pissed. Why the fuck would you do that without my say so type shit? Like, so it's not even in his sense, with your own sense of power within running this, you really want to test the limits to see how far you're
Yeah.
going. Now you're risking other people's lives, even though you allowed them to sign something saying that you would not allow people to touch me.
Right.
And when his other coworkers were like, dude, he asked for a lawyer. Like, we're trying to stop the shit right now. The nigga asked for a
Well,
lawyer.
yeah,
Let's cut it here. It's
it's
out. We're
over,
done here.
buddy.
We're done here. He
It's
was mad.
over.
So it tests your sensibility. When you get that sense of power that you've never ever had before, for some people it's an instant blow up. It's
Because
an instant glorification.
you know what it is? A lot of people confuse justice for what's morally right. And like one quote I heard before was, at one point, slavery was justified. That doesn't make it morally right. So when people get positions of power or following the law, just certain shit within the law that people like, oh, it's following, like, yeah, that's not morally right. I'm pretty sure people that work in CPS have to deal with that a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Dealing with children where it's like, yeah, you got to do your job, but you know the gray areas.
CPS actually has the highest turnover rate.
Really?
Yeah, they I'm not gonna say it out loud. Obviously, I have another job outside of this, but since my job is technically government related, yeah, CPS has the highest turnover for employment because it's a hard job.
Yeah.
And then also, not in just the sense of your morality and your values, it's a hard job personally for you because on an outside standpoint, granted, it may not have been you who put the file or the suit on me to get my child.
Right.
If I know that you worked my case, if I can find you, I'm going to find you.
Facts.
And it happens to them often. You know, a lot of people have to get some of their information cloaked because it's as simple as me like randomly seeing you on Facebook and now all of a sudden I'm writing you, or all of a sudden I know your address, and
Yeah.
it's an escalation thing from there. But yeah, CPS has one of the highest turnover rates. If
You know what
possibly
else
have.
it was kind of like that for? Just talking about like what's morally right and what's wrong. When I was teaching, when I used to be a teacher, I found myself being the person I said I would never be, because it's like I can't not tell these kids like you don't need to go to college. You know what I'm saying? Like you're
That's what I'm
good.
supposed to do.
Yeah, but at the same time, like if they were to tell the principal, somebody else, like, oh yeah, Mr. So and so said I don't need to go to college. I can start my business and do this and do taxes and
Mhm.
invest. Then it's gonna be like, well, wait, that's not in the curriculum. That's not what the school district
Right.
is pushing. But it's like, I find myself having to
You teeter-totter
you
on, yeah.
teeter-totter on like, all right, I'm gonna tell you what's
'Cause
right.
you
Because
know
I'm not
what?
trying to have you get into debt at 21, 22.
I do that for my job all the time because, like, granted, I'm supposed to empathize with you or tell you this or tell you that. Look, honestly, you got this fucking long, my nigga, because pay what you can while you can, but you got this time
Right,
before this happens. Like,
right,
realistically, this is what's really gonna happen because, like, for some people, I just feel bad. Like, I don't even want to like. It's hard. Like, I don't want to have to lie every fucking day.
right.
I don't want to have to fucking lie every day.
Facts,
Like,
facts.
I'm one of them niggas is I always tell the truth even when I lie.
Yeah.
Like, for real. Like,
Shut the fuck up.
I spit some truth to you real fast even when I lie, bro, because my conscience can't take it. My conscience can't take it. But
So,
I just can't. My conscience and my heart and like everything. I can't take seeing us. I can't take seeing us as a people like just still being degraded, still being demoralized, still being devalued when we hold. I think black people are the gold of America.
of the world,
Uh,
culturally, you look at hip
yeah,
hop, the way we
black people
dress.
are the gold of society standards.
Yeah,
Society portrays it as if white people are the standard. Black people are the fucking standard
facts.
with a white face covered in front of it.
Yeah. That's why I tell people Jesus look like Ricky Rubio. Like no one says anything about that. It's like, are we still going with this narrative? Like if you read the Bible, it literally says the skin of bronze. But like if you pull up a picture of Ricky Rubio and Jesus, it's the same
Same
motherfucker.
nigga,
It's the
same
same
nigga.
dude. But I
Yeah,
get it.
black people are the golden egg. Like we set the precedent. Like we set the standard for what's cool. We set
Right.
the standard for what isn't. We set the standard for what's good food. We set the standard for what's good music. We
Right.
set the fucking standard. And I say this to be really funny too because we were watching the documentary about how McDonald's scammed everybody out of the Monopoly game.
The Ray Kroc dude or
No, so it's actually a group of people. It's called McMillionaire or something like that. And it's about how through the 90s, I want to say through
the little McDonald on the Monopoly
the
on the
peel,
cup?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So from 19, I want to say 1998 to like 2003 or something like that. Nobody was winning technically, but it was really like a group of people who like intertwined and figured it out. Fucking crazy doc. But the reason I say this anyway, fuck the documentary. When I say that we're the standard, they had Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. Playing in the background wasn't Montel Jordan. Very countrified. Very fucking countrified.
Like a kid's bop?
Like yeah, like on some like Tim McGraw. This is how we do it. Like we set the fucking standard. You niggas don't know shit about this is how we do it, and y'all niggas don't know shit about how the gangbangers forgot about the drive-by, and them niggas didn't forget.
Right. Not at all.
But here you are with fucking Susie Q singing the hell out of this is how we do it. We set the fucking precedent for what it is. Like we make shit cool. We make shit cool.
But
We make everything realistically. Like without us, America wouldn't have its foundation.
there'd be no culture in a lot of places.
Not even just culture. There would be no light post. There would be no stoplights. There would be no washer and dryer. There would be no ice cream scoops. There would
They're
be no
going.
gas masks. There would be no mailboxes. Like, nigga, there would be no bicycle, no tricycle. Like, when I say we invented it all,
And the Super Soaker.
Super Soaker. Shout out to the nigga who invented the Super Soaker.
Yeah.
I actually just bought Super Soaker yesterday. What is it? Air conditioning?
Yeah.
Niggas. Niggas.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy? Niggas be the first ones to be like, don't touch my AC. We invented that shit.
Okay. Hot
Nigg-
comb? Was
Hot
it Madam
comb.
CJ Walker?
Hot comb was invented by us. Absolutely. So
You know what else?
without us, you needed the hot comb to get the straightener.
You know what else I found out? I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure. So in a light, the actual filament that gets heated up.
That's what we created.
Yeah, the filament.
Yeah, when I say that we created light, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
by
the
that.
okay.
The light bulb itself.
Yeah.
We created that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I found that out. Okay, that's all.
Yes, actually, too. I recently discovered this. So shout out to my grandpa for giving me the education on that. A black man actually discovered the North Pole.
Word?
Mm-hmm. It was a black.
He's wild. I gotta meet him. Like, what was you doing out there, fam? We're tropical.
He was actually with a white man.
Okay.
He was with a white man. He discovered the North Pole. And I believe that like the white man felt like weird that the nigga discovered it first. Cause they had traveled together. I think the black man ended up getting up earlier than the white man and ended up finding it, made his mark. This is it, whatever. White man stumbled up, woke up. No, that's not it. Walks a couple feet away from where he actually found the pivotal point. Puts his landmark here. This is the North Pole. And that's what we're claiming it as.
What?
It's literally a couple feet from where the black man actually originally found it, at the actual center point of where the North Pole actually is.
Damn, I really want to go there now.
Yeah.
Fuck around, take a voyage out.
Oh, yeah.
Free.
Niggas really created everything. Where Santa live, niggas created the dream for y'all kids to have that.
Okay, you know what's something I did know? One more little history piece, and I'll like get back to the topic at hand. You know, I did know that it's documented in Christopher Columbus's journal that he ran into black people going back when he initially came here in 1492. Like we was already here.
So, okay. So, I'm glad that you brought this up.
Yeah.
Ag-
We're indigenous to here.
Dating an educated black man is amazing because he brought this up to me too. For people who have came here, in order to get slaves back here, if Africa sets a different precedent and a different language barrier, there's no way that you could have easily just gone here, offered us liquor and food, and then got us on a boat to come here. You had to have a mediator or somebody there who understands the barriers and the foundation of something. So you already had pre-slavery here. And these were Americanized slaves, people who had already broken the border of English or already knew English or whatever the case may be. You needed to take them in order to get the rest of us. You needed them to present some sort of prophecy or like better bringing in order to get them to come here, because there's no way that you just went to Africa, you centralized Africa for that matter, and decided, I'm just going to take an abundance of you, and you guys, literally everyone has no idea what's going on. For them to be culturally shocked just as much as you are, it's just like Pocahontas. When the colonizers came down, the niggas in Pocahontas' team was ready for action because they knew, I ain't never seen y'all niggas has got to be on some other shit. Like, let's be ready.
Get it.
To come to Africa as a white human being, you don't think that they were maybe scared or on the defense? They would have had to have been. Yeah. Therefore, in order for them to be a lesser than on that defense, you have to have some sort of mediation for that. So therefore, we had to have been here. You had to have taken people who are already here on the land to go back to our motherland to make a difference, or to make them tell them something different than what they would have known to come here. You needed somebody to get them here. Right. There's no way that you as a colonizer just went there by yourself and discovered, was like, take some liquor, niggas, come with us. Like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Damn. That's something to think about.
It takes something to have gotten there.
Yeah.
It takes something. You need something to get to where you are.
Ooh, I ain't never heard that perspective. That's a perspective. Wow.
You have to think about it that way. You don't. Niggas just don't walk up in it. Like, if I walk to China right now, I land in China and I walk up to a Chinese motherfucker and I'm like, hey, yo, where's the nearest McDonald's?
They're going to look at you like, what? What are you saying? True, yeah.
Walk up with the Asian nigga, you looking at me a little less funny because I got an Asian nigga with me now, so you feel like, oh, okay, they might be good people.
Yeah. Oh.
Can you translate the fact that I want to know where's the nearest McDonald's?
Got you.
Over there. I need something to lure you to assist me. If there's a language barrier, what can I do to lure you to assist me? If you don't know what liquor is, I can't just show up with a Henny bottle like.
Yeah.
You're not amused. You're not.
You know what? I'm glad you just said that. You know why that's so important for what you said? So that narrative. That's why I think, and I always say, integration was one of the worst things that ever happened. You know why? Because it gave somebody else our narrative. You know what I'm saying? Or being in charge of our narrative. We gave up our businesses. We gave up all the
black dollar.
The black dollar something I never understood was why the fuck would we give all that up to go integrate? And the funny thing is we the only ones that did it. Till this day, listen, till this day, if you go to any city, is there a Chinatown in any city?
Absolutely.
That's not integration. That's literally a different part of town. If you go to Chicago, you got what's called Little Italy, or Chicago, New York, Little Italy. That's literally their shit. If you go to, I think Chicago has like a Jewtown or something like that. If you look,
You know what we have?
Martin Luther King Boulevard, motherfucker. That's it. If you want to know where we're at in any city,
Hey, for y'all who don't know, this my nigga, man.
no,
He get it.
you
Get
go to
it.
anywhere. If you Antarctica, y'all got a Martin Luther King Boulevard that way. That's where we're gonna be at. Any Martin Luther King Boulevard in every city.
We're starting to get Obama Street.
Anyways, so that's crazy that we're like the only ones that did that, and like I still can't to this day
We
understand
have
why.
This
And that's the schooling, like what you just taught me. I'm like, damn, this shit probably would have been taught to me in about third, fourth grade, in the sense of knowing the ramifications of everything that went on. I'm pretty sure more shit would have opened up as my mind progressed through middle school and high school. But the narrative changed over here. It's like I should have been taught some shit like that, or even just given that
the
perspective
perspective of it.
earlier. But if I got Randy Finkelberg over here teaching me my shit, and it's like,
It's just like the Christopher Columbus situation, right? Nigga came over here. I discovered America.
all right,
How? You needed somebody or someone to even show you where America was.
all right,
You needed somebody to tour guide you to where you were, which means you either had somebody who had previously been there and told you about this place for you to even start your initial expedition, or you got to a place, realized there were people there, took one of those people back with you to show proof that you discovered a different race or a different area, and now we'll give you credit for something.
all right.
Show me to believe it.
So let me ask you this: with the me talking about the narrative now, what's your opinion on interracial couples and the knowledge that they should have? Any interracial, Asian, white, black,
Honestly,
white,
so
black, green, orange. Like, what is your take on someone's social awareness of the other person's culture and race?
I don't have a problem with interracial dating. I don't have a problem with it at all. It doesn't bother me. Like I have friends who interracially date. It's fine. My godkids are interraced, whatever. I think though that within interracial relationships, I think that it goes for, I look at an interracial relationship as I do a friendship. Because as you said, I can understand where you're coming from. I can agree with you and I can empathize with you. But at the end of the day, I won't know what it's like to be you. I won't know your pain and I won't know your struggles. So in some circumstances, I think it's okay that you stay within your lane. But I think it's also okay that you educate yourself and you stay aware and you be supportive of whatever movement that they want to do, whatever protest that they want to do. If you don't feel comfortable being out there, that's fine. If you're supportive of your spouse being out there, be fucking supportive of your spouse being out there. Hold that shit down. I think for people who have like mixed kids, I think my pro-blackness isn't whether I'm not a person, as a person who would not be of color, your pro-blackness isn't needed to be proved to anybody.
Right.
Your pro-blackness starts in the foundation of your home. You teach your child their cultural backgrounds. You teach your child their racial backgrounds. You have those same conversations that we have, the hold your head high, the yes ma'am, no ma'am, the yes sir, no sirs, the keep your pants pulled up. You still have these same conversations. You still watch these same riots and these same videos and these same movements and know that this too could be your child, regardless of how mulatto they could possibly be. It doesn't matter how many languages they speak. It doesn't matter how many different races they could possibly be. If at the end of the day they are in any way, shape, or form black, you educate them on that and you make sure that they're proud of who they are as a human being, period. That's what really matters, is that you being able to teach your child what's important. You pass that on. because racism is taught. It's not it's not something that's embedded within your
Yeah, we're not
DNA. It's
born with
not
that shit.
something that's embedded in your genes. You're taught that.
Right.
That's an educational thing. You're taught racism as easy as you are 1+1. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think what's really important is to you teach your kid to love everybody for individuals as who you are. You teach them to dislike them for fucking them over.
Right.
Don't fucking you teach a motherfucker
Don't
not
be
to
no
like
sucker. Yeah.
Don't be no sucker. Don't let nobody cross you.
Yeah.
Don't let nobody disrespect you.
Right.
Don't let nobody hurt or harm you. You teach your kid to stand up for shit like that. But like other than that, like the color of your skin doesn't make any difference to me. I give a fuck if you was pink and fucking blue.
Fact.
Like make me no fucking never mind. Like
Fact.
if you're a good person, you're a good person at the end of the day. That's what I really what I care about is your character.
Right.
At the end of the day, your solidarity, your loyalty. Like I care about your morality more than I do your skin tone.
Facts.
I definitely care about your
Morals
morality.
and principles are
Absolutely.
everything.
Absolutely. But I also want to say too, within racism being taught, I don't want to necessarily say that like black people are counter-racial, but like,
what do you mean? I've never heard that term. Like prejudice towards
well, because like you know how like some people be like, oh, like well, mainly we say, but black people can't be racist because
we don't have power.
Right. So, but I'm saying like
we could be prejudiced.
Right. But I don't even feel like it's not. I feel like our prejudice too though comes from fear, because just like white people are taught racism, as blacks we're conditionalized to live in fear under the white power.
Yeah, and other ideologies. I guess yeah, a lot of prejudices that we have. It comes from either ideologies that we've heard of white people or fear.
Or fear.
From our past experiences
Absolutely.
with encounters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think sometimes, I don't want to say it's justified, but I understand certain logic behind people have a way of thinking, or like prejudice is thinking like, oh, certain folks are like that or like this, or they just might think that until they show them different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because don't get me wrong, like how you just said, if we walk down the street right now, you know, more than likely they're going to clutch your purse. I'm going to be real. If a white person walk by my car, I'm going to lock my door.
Dog.
I'm nervous. We're just as scared as you guys are of us. And you guys have a higher rate of rape, kill, suicide, homicide. I don't even want to send my kid to school. Shit.
Yeah. You know, it's something else I do want to touch on too.
And one in every 7 hillbillies, there's a school shooter.
Oh my God. The fuck is wrong with you? Is that an Allstate stat? That sounds like something the Allstate motherfucker would say. Are you in good hands? 1 in every 7.
It's a State Farm ad, actually.
This
here is promoted by Chris Paul.
Cliff does it.
Cliff support.
So look, this is something I want to talk about too. Stop saying black on black crime. There's no such thing. There is no such thing as black on black crime.
Niggas just nigga.
No. What I mean is, when you have people living amongst each other within the community, there will be crime. When an Asian person shoots an Asian, if there's a shooting in China, they don't say Asian on Asian. It's crime. It's literally just crime. If there's crime in Italy, it's not Italian on Italian crime. It's just crime.
It's intentionalized to put a light on our criminal activity.
Right.
Because when white people shoot white people, it's not white on white crime either.
No, I don't get it.
It's not black on black crime.
Yeah, there's no such thing. It's like, you know what it's like saying? It's like if there's a murder in prison, that's like somebody be like, y'all need to stop dick on dick crime. Like, listen, it's not, there are men there. Of course there's gonna be dicks in jail.
Criminal on criminal crime.
Yeah, like, bro, it's what are you talking about? Like, you don't need to state that.
It's just crime.
It's just crime.
Fucking crime.
It's just fucking crime. We live amongst each other in our own communities, like people in y'all communities. When there's crime over there, it's crime. It's just crime. I hate that narrative. And every time I hear somebody say, like, we need to stop, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, and I'll be trying not to, like, be ignorant when I say it, but I be like, yo, stop fucking portraying that, stop perpetuating that shit. Like,
Yeah,
it's just so
because
stupid.
now you're feeding into the narrative of us having a criminalistic background,
Exactly.
when in our reality, like, everybody has a criminalistic background.
Everybody.
Like I said, like, I'm pro-life, but if I have to kill a motherfucker tonight,
I'm playing Call of Duty tonight.
I'll get on there with you.
I'm on.
You know I'll be lighting shit up on there, and you be seeing me
Never.
go left, do.
I'm filthy.
I pull up, hop out,
Hey.
but I'll see you on COD later,
All
bro.
right. All right. But shit, I don't know. When things constantly like they keep supporting narratives, I just be like, bro,
We have to stop doing
we
that.
gotta stop doing that shit, man.
But like I said, I'm happy, and it makes me feel good, because when black people get together, like I said, we really fucking form together. And I think that the solution essentially is to realize, like, how big of a difference and how big of an impact we essentially make when we're all standing as one.
Yeah.
Like, looking at these videos, granted, there are mixed crowds and there are people who are not of color out there fighting for us. Look how many people of color it is out there fighting for us. You know what I mean?
Are you for the looting?
Absolutely.
too.
I want a Rolex too.
I know.
I want a TV and some
I
grapes.
do. I was like, oh, I'm waiting for them to hit
I
certain
want it
spot.
all.
Yeah.
Suits and drawers.
Yeah.
I want it all. Absolutely.
I'm like chilling because I'm like, I be looking at some
I
of the
don't give a fuck
protests.
if y'all robbed Gucci. They called us niggas last year anyway.
It ain't that insurance or reimbursement. If people understand the system of
Of
America,
how insurance. These
they'll-
niggas don't give a fuck
yeah, they
about
don't.
that shit being
They'll be
broken
reimbursed.
into. Yeah.
It's like robbing somebody in a Bentley. Like the insurance will cover. They'll have another one tomorrow morning.
Yeah, they got collision coverage,
Yeah,
rental property insurance coverage, and shit like that. These niggas ain't worried.
That's why I'm like, dog, I'm waiting for like a certain spot in town to be like, yeah, we're meeting here. I'm be like, you know what? I see what you done
see
for
your
others. Yeah,
price.
I see what you done for others, Lord. I will listen to the calling.
Right, I'm in
I'm
that
out there.
thing.
I'm out
Absolutely.
For sure.
Loot.
Yeah. My eyes on one store. I'm like, dog,
Nigga.
as soon as I hear somebody could drop their phone, I'm like, let's get it. As soon as I hear anything.
And you know what? Don't record me while I'm looting.
Oh, I'm going to have my mask on.
Mind your fucking business.
I'm going to have my mask on.
Don't
You
say
know,
my name.
You know,
Stacy? Don't say my name.
I'm going to get a wig. I'm going to have an afro. They going to be like, I'm going to shave the beard.
Look, before we get off our we gotta wrap it up here shortly, actually. Before we get off our pro-black situation, how do you feel about interracial couples? Or
I think just having social awareness. One thing I always tell people, my biggest fear about dating someone of the opposite race is them not being socially aware. I don't want my child to be somewhere and you don't teach them the morals and principles they need.
yeah, like,
You know what I'm
don't teach
saying?
my son.
Like if
Don't teach my son to think it's cool to go to Compton and take a picture.
Yes, or if my son or daughter says, Dad, you know, the kids are being racist to me, or Mom, the kids being racist to me, and she's like, babe, that's crazy. They're not. Like, no. My biggest fear is the woman I pick, if I were to date
Right.
someone interracially,
I need you to understand
to be dismissive.
why my kid raises his hand all the time and knows the answers but isn't getting called on. I need you
Right.
to know why my child was picked last because he or she was the tallest or the strongest person in their class when they should have been chosen first. I need you to
Right.
understand why.
And even if my awareness is good enough to, like, let's say I have a daughter and, you know, the conversation comes up. And if my wife doesn't get it, I'm like, well, you know how you're a woman and we have a daughter, so you cover up because men are a certain way.
Mhm.
Like, race is the same, but like, if I even have to have that conversation, I feel like the principle, you miss the principle.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck, that would be my biggest fear, is just like, damn, some people do have to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to me where it's like, how do you not know? How do you not know? Like,
Yeah.
if I, as a man, can have awareness that women go, like, how do you not know that clearly? Like, I don't want to hear that I don't see color. And even if it's not your perspective, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So once
you don't see
have,
color,
like,
how you get dressed today?
come on, fam. Come on, fam.
How you put that outfit on, boo?
Come on, man.
Because you match.
That it's one of those things where, and I see the people who are socially aware, and I applaud them. Whether you're Asian, Latino,
You white.
white, Eskimo, I don't give a damn.
Zebras.
Zebras, it don't
Zebra.
matter who it is.
Shout out to all my zebras
All
out
the
there.
zebras
all
out
the
there.
zebras.
It doesn't matter. Just being socially aware. I feel like as men, as black men, you need to make sure the woman you pick is socially aware of what
Absolutely.
you go through and the child that you have, what they're going to experience. Okay. The same way I'm going to raise my daughter to be socially aware of men and how men are,
Absolutely.
then the
Same
same
thing.
logic applies to race. You need to be
I
socially
can't wait to
aware.
tell my son that white women are the devil. I'm sorry. And I like, and honestly, like, honestly, two of my best friends are white. Their
Really?
kids are my god kids, and I love them little niggas.
Yeah.
Ooh, I took my son to get a haircut today. Oh God, oh God. And
Now, you know
I
what
tell my
though?
white homegirls that white women are the devil all the fucking time. They know it ain't a secret.
Socially is one of those things that, and you know what, I faced something like this back in the day, but somebody lied and said that I had inappropriately touched them and lied on me.
And you know what's crazy about that too? It only takes one person.
Dog.
It takes one person.
So the social awareness I have of like, it's so easy for a person's voice. Like that's why I think women are dangerous. Like a woman could just be like, especially women, like that recent video of that dude in the park with the dog, and she's like, I'm gonna tell them an African American man is doing this because she wasn't leashing her dog. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Her awareness of that, or
So then you knew.
she
Yeah, you knew.
she radicalized her voice, racialized her voice. I forgot how that statement goes, but
Technically it would be both. You racially radicalize your voice. That's what
right
it is.
in the sense of knowing that like, oh, I'm gonna be the person distressed. I was like, that's one of those things that I'm socially aware of now. I'm like, if I piss her off one day or we just have an argument or a disagreement, and she gonna be like, he did this, and it is in the back of my head as a black man because you don't be knowing motherfuckers what they did that day to the men in the past. So like, it's something I think about in the sense of when I see it, but I don't think it's a thought. It's one of those things like I don't think all women are like that, but I don't put it past nobody.
Right.
So it's just one of those things where like I have you know me.
And you know what too? I also want to put this out there that not all skin folk are kinfolk.
Man.
Let's just put that out there.
Man.
Because there are some Uncle Toms of our own community.
Man.
So
that shit baffles.
That's also shit that you have to be careful of.
That shit baffles me sometimes. I'll be like, and you know what? I will say this. I don't expect every black person's perspective of America to be rough. Some black people were born into money.
Yeah.
And their narrative of America is what the American dream is supposed to be. And I can't expect them to have the same struggle. So like
know what? If you can watch a video surface the same way that I can watch a video surface, if you can see 1 and you can see 2 and you can see 3, even so knowing that, just even naturally knowing that slavery was a real thing at a point, you have to know that that underlying racism is still gonna be there. Which is why too, like another thing that me and my man always talk about is that that whole like approximation situation or whatever, that shit Abe wrote, and how people give praise to him and how he did something for he didn't want to free us. Let's just make that clear. Within the approximation, he specifically states, basically saying that he basically, to give you guys like a synopsis of it, what he basically did was say, if I can keep things the same, I would. But because of the effects of me keeping it the same,
it's gonna ruin the economy.
I have to make this change.
Facts.
But if it was up to a nigga like me, I'd keep these niggas underneath us for sure.
Facts.
So the fact that he gets deemed so much credit, like he made a difference for black people purposely. No, he did it for y'all's demographic.
Right.
He didn't do it for our demographic because he morally felt it was right. The nigga justified the shit as well. Like, well, we gonna get some more money out these niggas if we really release them. So
exactly.
A lot of people don't educate themselves on that, and like that's also another triggering thing for me. Is like if you guys really pay attention and you really educate yourself on that, like the nigga wanted to keep us.
He wanted. You know, that's the frustrating part I have about a lot of folks now. With as much access to shit on the internet, there's no reason you should know shit by now.
Matter of fact, like
you can do specific searches. You can do
I just want you to type in the Rodney King.
.edu.
Search Rodney King. That's all I need you to know.
No, but listen, you can do advanced searches on like .org, .edu with cited research behind it, so you're not just looking at some Wikipedia.
There's documentaries you can watch.
Right.
There's,
I just don't understand how people don't be in today's age with the access. It's literally in your palm. You can literally. I could talk to somebody in China right now on a FaceTime, and like, so I can reach information like
That fast.
that fast. So when
That
people
fast.
don't know, I do be kind of like, what the fuck do you be doing, dog? I really be out like, what the fuck do you be on? Like,
What is you talking about?
fuck is you talking about? So, uh, the main thing I want to leave people with is, in this episode, be aware,
Absolutely.
speak up, and make sure you're standing on the right side of history when the narrative is told.
Absolutely. Don't speak up though just to speak up. I want to say that. Don't speak up just to speak up. Don't speak up if you feel bullied into speaking up.
Right.
Because do what works for you. Support how you know how to support.
Yes.
And if you do not know how to support, either educate yourself on how to support, ask for help on how to support. And for those people of color, don't shun those people who are not of color, who want to educate themselves, who want to get themselves out of that margin that they've been stuck in. Allow them to reach out to you. Allow those stupid questions to be answered because they don't know. I think that's something I want to leave the people out on is help others who know lesser than about your race. Educate them, realistically. Educate others in need of those, especially those who want to be educated. Educate those in need who want to be educated. I think educate the youth.
Yes.
Whether you have kids, whether it's your friends' kids, your God's kids, your cousins, your sisters, your little brothers, absolutely. Educate the youth. I think that's extremely important. And not just black youth or urban youth. Educate all youth. I think that's something I definitely want to leave y'all out on is educate the youth is really important because the youth essentially is what our future holds on. And the youth essentially are the ones who are gonna end up spreading that love and who could potentially cut this shit off if taught the right things.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely educate the youth on racial situations. I think that's actually, I think that's my solution is educate the youth. That would be my biggest solution is educate those who are younger than you. Educate those, not even just little kids, educate those in high school, educate those in middle school and elementary school. Just educate the youth in general about their racial background and about what can be done and about how other races are treated, about how other races are stereotyped, and about how you could progress and be friends with those of other races, of other generations, and not stereotype them or live in the fear of their race or feel like you are lesser than of that race. So yeah, that's it. I'd run over to Just Mike and pretend like I was Just, but I don't have no mess for y'all. I don't got no mess for y'all tonight. But I do want to say thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Horror Stories. Unfortunately, we didn't talk about fucking.
Man.
But fuck, we'll be back next week with another episode of fucking. Man. So we are out on Horror Stories. I just want to say one more time that being pro-black is not anti-white. And I also want to say that fuck all that all lives matter, nigga. Black lives matter.
Right.